more than 50 programs and deliver more than 50 guest lectures at different occasions. His collaboration with leading institutes like NCERT, SCERT, CBSC, UGC, and other reflects his dedication to education. He also had significant administrative roles, including controller examination at Manu and principal of its GTEs in Asansol and Bhopal. Professor Jamal firmly believes in transmittive power of teachers and has worked tirelessly to share his expertise across the country. Please join me in welcoming him as he shares his invaluable insights today. Dear Professor Sajid Jamal Sahab, please you may continue the session.
Thank you, Dr. Zishan Sahab. In fact, for all those good words and kind words that you have said about me, I don't think I do deserve for all those praises. I'm
No, no,
just a
sir, you
teacher.
do deserve this. And
I'm
you
just a
deserve.
teacher, and I have got the opportunity to address my fellow brethren and sisters. So I think I'm fortunate that I have got this opportunity. In fact, let me tell you that this session was something someone's else. In fact, due to some engagement, that person couldn't come. So hurriedly, I was summoned and I was called to do the needful. So I'm doing the needful. My
Thank
topic
you,
is
brother.
Indian knowledge system, and I'm quite sure that you people, since you have gone through the national education policy, and you know, national education policy 2020 much emphasizes on Indian knowledge system. So I would like to just brief you people what is Indian knowledge system and how Indian knowledge system has contributed in various fields, so far as philosophy is concerned, mathematics is concerned, science is concerned, health is concerned, governance and public administration is concerned. So I will begin my talk with some brief, you can say, discussion about NEP 2020. I mean, all those points of NEP 2020 which are directly or indirectly related with IKS. And then I'll be continuing my discussion. So for that, I'm sharing my screen first, and then we will proceed. And I request all the participants, please, to be interactive, be participative. So I'm sharing my screen. Just wait. Can you see my screen, my friends? My friends, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Right. So the topic is this: an overview of Indian knowledge system. I have framed some objectives for this particular session. So these objectives are mentioned by me in 5 points. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, any one of you, please read the slide.
Dear participants, please do
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yeah, please. Yes, ma'am.
Uh, be familiarized with the relevance, role, and importance of IKS.
Right.
Be acquainted with the contribution of IKS in the field of philosophy, mathematics, public administration, and governance, and science and technology.
Right.
The next one is,
Become efficient.
sir, actually something coming on the screen, so I will not able to see the third one.
Now you see, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Become efficient in integrating IKS in the present education system.
Right.
The fourth one is be sensitized towards various component of holistic health.
Right.
Feel pride in being a part of rich Indian culture and traditions.
Right. Who are you, ma'am?
I'm Professor Aisha Kamal from Integral University, sir.
Okay. What do you teach, ma'am?
Plant biotechnology and agriculture biotechnology.
Okay, Asha ma'am. Thank you very much. So these are the objectives that I have framed for this particular session. Definitely, the moment my session will be over, You will be familiarized with the relevance, role, and importance of Indian knowledge system. My purpose will be to acquaint you people with the contribution of Indian knowledge system in various fields like philosophy, mathematics, public administration and governance, and science and technology. Definitely, you all are teachers, and this is a NEP 2020 sensitization workshop. So one of the purpose is you will be sensitized towards IKS, and definitely since you teach various subjects, so in your teaching subjects you'll be able to integrate IKS. So I'm quite sure the moment my session will be over, you will develop efficiency in yourself to integrate IKS in your lectures, in your teaching. Definitely, I will try to sensitize you people towards various components of holistic health, and I'm quite sure the moment my lecture will be over, you will feel pride in being a part of rich Indian culture and tradition. So these are the objectives that I have framed for this particular session. To begin with, National Education Policy 2020, and why this National Education Policy 2020 is important. You people are very active on social media. There is much debate, there is much discussion on NEP 2020. In my opinion, how NEP 2020 is different from the other educational policies or from the other educational documents in the history of India is its vision. So for your ready reference, uh, I'm just giving that. I'm just coming to the vision. So can you see the vision that is on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to request any one of you to please read this vision of National Education Policy 2020.
The vision of a National Education Policy 2020. The vision of the policy is to instill among the learners a deep rooted pride in being an Indian, not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support the responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living and global well being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen.
Right. Who are you, ma'am?
Sir Dr. Ashrima Negi from Delhi.
Negi, ma'am, what do you teach?
Sir, I'm teaching NTA UGC NET for the past 8 years.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. So, as I mentioned that this vision of NEP 2020 basically makes it unique. So no such clear-cut vision was there in any national education policies that have come earlier or any educational document. So, what is the vision of this policy? To instill among the learners, as Negi ma'am has just read, to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, and definitely not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development and living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen, which definitely suits to our ancient ethos, and that is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So this is the unique vision of NEP 2020, which I wanted to present before you people. So if you'll minutely see this National Education Policy 2020, at various points, you will find that it has deep rooted, in fact, in our Indian knowledge system. So what are those points through which you can understand its deep root in Indian knowledge system? I have presented these 8 points on the next slide, and I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
The first one is recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student.
Right,
Second one is flexibility.
right,
Third one is no hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities.
right,
The next one is multidisciplinary and holistic education.
right,
Next one is emphasis on conceptual understanding.
right.
Next one is developing ethical, human, and constitutional values. Next
Yes,
one is respect for diversity and the local context. And
yes.
the last one is that of seamless continuum of education from one level to another.
Right, right. Who are you, sir?
So my name is Dr. Junaid.
Junaid, sir, what do you teach?
Sir, I'm basically from the field of marketing.
Okay, 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 Junaid, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So these are the points. If you will minutely go through all these points, you will find that they are deep rooted in our ancient education system or ancient, Indian knowledge system. So In ancient education system, basically there was a tradition of recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. Before I proceed, since all of you, most of you are teachers, so I would like to take your opinion. My friends, do you think that every student who comes to us is blessed with some unique potentials, with some unique capabilities? What's your opinion?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, definitely.
Definitely.
Yes, yes.
Definitely. Only thing is that whether we are able to identify and recognize that potential or not. But everyone is blessed with some unique potentials and capabilities. And it was our ancient education system which was emphasizing too much on this. I mean, most difficult part of this is recognition, identification. With which capacity, with which capability, with which unique potential someone is blessed with. So the moment you will identify, the moment you will recognize, then definitely you can foster. So fostering is not so difficult, but most difficult aspect is recognizing and identifying. And this National Education Policy 2020 focuses on the same, principle on which our ancient education system was based, that is recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. Coming to the second point, flexibility, I think so many points you people are familiar. Multiple entry and multiple exit, and academic bank of credit, credit transfer, national academic depository. Switching from one area to another area, simultaneously having physics and music as a teaching subject, simultaneously enrolling in MBBS course as well as studying electronics. I mean, something like that. So all these flexibilities have been taught and modalities for that have been mentioned. So again, if you see our ancient education system, Indian knowledge system, that was quite flexible, and this point also has been taken from there. Then you see our ancient education system, the knowledge was treated as a unified whole. So definitely we didn't have compartmentalization of knowledge, that this is science and this is arts, or this is physics and this is chemistry and this is zoology and this is mathematics. So if you see all those teachers who used to teach Vedas, who used to teach philosophy, they used to teach music as well, they used to teach mathematics as well, they used to teach surgery as well, they used to teach other subjects as well. So in our education system, in fact, there was no separation between arts and science as well as between curricular and extracurricular activities. So again, this point has been emphasized in AP 2020, which has taken its root from Indian knowledge system. Then definitely multidisciplinary and holistic education. I'm quite sure there's one whole session on it, and you will be sensitized towards this. What is this multidisciplinary and holistic education? So my friends, it's not something new. Again, I mean, this point has been derived from Indian knowledge system. Then emphasis on conceptual understanding. So what is conceptual understanding, by the way? What do you understand by this term, conceptual understanding, my friends? What's your opinion?
So when a student is able to have a crystal clear idea with respect to the concept, and if we talk about Bloom's taxonomy, he's able to remember and recall. That means he is prepared at LOTS level 1. When he's able to remember the concept which has been taught in the class, then we say that the student is able to have a conceptual clarity when he's at level 1. LO1 and LO2, when he remembers it and he understands well in the class. So both lots level 1 and 2 are clear to him from the class itself. We say conceptual understanding has taken place.
Very good, very good. Who are you, ma'am?
Sir, Ashima Negi.
Acha Negi, ma'am. Okay.
Haan ji, haan ji, sir.
Okay.
Ji, sir.
Any more idea, or will anyone in the group supplement Negi, ma'am? My question is, what do you mean by conceptual understanding? Okay, okay. Now I'm asking another question. Please listen to me. So, if your focus is totally on theoretical knowledge and bookish knowledge, so do you think that students will be able to apply that knowledge in their real life? What's your opinion, my friends?
Certainly not, sir.
Definitely, definitely.
There's a concept
So,
of learning by doing. Whatever we are
yeah,
teaching, that should be there in practical.
very good, very good. So, whatever you teach, somehow you have the aim that this particular knowledge should be utilized or applied by the students in their real life. So unless and until, I mean, if your focus will be just imparting information, imparting knowledge, giving bookish knowledge and cramming and remembering, then definitely they will not be able to apply. They will be able to apply only when they will understand the concept. So somehow, if you see our Indian knowledge system, it didn't focus much on cramming. Cramming was important, I don't say. Remembering was important, I don't say ki remembering was not important. But somehow, much focus was on conceptual understanding. And this point again that has been mentioned in NP 2020, it has its root in Indian knowledge system. Then you see rest of the points, 3 points: developing ethical, human, and constitutional values, respecting for diversity and local context, and a seamless continuum of education from primary level to secondary level to higher secondary level to undergraduate level to postgraduate level to research level. I mean, something like that. So all these points somehow directly or indirectly, they have root in our Indian knowledge system. So now the question arises, what is Indian knowledge system? So since this is a diverse group, people from diverse fields are there. So for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have defined all the 3 terms separately. So first I have defined Indian, then I have defined knowledge, then I have defined system, which is shown on next slide. So can you see it, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, right. So I would like
Yes,
to
sir.
request any one of you to please read the slide.
What is
Sir,
IKS?
Yeah,
India indigenous source of knowledge generated by the Indian society. Such knowledge synthesized, codified, and made available by the Indians.
right,
Knowledge obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences with life situations, facing problems, and coming up with means of solving them.
right.
System, a structured methodology and a classification scheme to access the available corpus of knowledge, the interconnection between the part of knowledge and in the classification framework.
Thank you, thank you. Who are you, sir?
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm Dr. Mohit from Mechanical Engineering Department, Integral University.
Okay, Moisab. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let me clarify the 3 terms separately, which has been just read by Dr. Mohit. So Indian knowledge system, the first term Indian, by Indian, what we mean, what I mean, in fact, indigenous sources of knowledge generated by the Indian society. And the moment I'm saying Indian society, I'm not talking of today's India. I'm talking of undivided India, Akhand Bharat, that is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Burma, Bhutan, I mean, and the ancient India, the unified India, Akhand Bharat. So not only generated by the Indian society, rather that knowledge synthesized, codified, as well as made available to the world by the Indians. So this was the first term. Coming to the second term, knowledge. So how I have defined? Knowledge is that which is obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences with life situations. So before I further clarifying this concept, I would like to ask one question. There is a proverb which says that life is the best teacher. So my friends, do you agree with this proverb?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. And how life is the best teacher? Any clarification from you?
So life experiences
Oh,
actually teach us emotionally and mentally how we can develop ourselves because of the
very good.
exposure which we get. We
Very-
develop ourselves mentally and emotionally.
Definitely, definitely. So from birth till death, every day, almost every hour, some experiences you get, and those experiences teach you a lot. So knowledge, obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences. So our ancestors, they faced some problems. Definitely, they tried to get the solution of that problem by personal experiences. And the moment they have solved it, they had remembered it, and it became a source of insight for the other people as well. So knowledge basically was obtained by personal experiences with life situations. Then comes system. So I have just given you one example how knowledge has come. Similarly, so much knowledge has come. So knowledge became a unified whole, a big whole, a a very wide area. Knowledge became a very wide area. So for the sake of clarity, what people did, those people somehow identified some classification scheme, they discovered some classification scheme, so that they may classify that knowledge. Not only classified, rather they ensured that somehow there should be some interconnection between all those classified knowledge, so that become a system. So in a nutshell, this was Indian knowledge system. Now the question arises, how Indian knowledge system has contributed in various fields. Definitely, it's a huge area, and I don't think I will be able to cover, I mean, in just 1.5 hours. I mean, it's almost impossible. So I have selected only 6 areas where you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. And those 6 areas are shown on this slide. So I'm sure you can read this slide. So any one of you, please read the slide. How many areas I have identified in which we will talk about the contribution of Indian knowledge system?
So there are total of 6 areas.
6
First
areas,
area
of course.
on
Yeah,
the slide is philosophy.
yeah,
Second, mathematics. Third,
right,
science and technology.
right.
Fourth, application science and technology.
Hmm.
Fifth is health, and sixth is governance and public administration.
Right, right. And remember, I mean, contribution of Indian knowledge system is not limited to these 6 areas only. I mean, there are many more areas, but just, I mean, since these 6 areas, immense contribution of IKS is there. That's why I have deliberately kept these 6 areas. So I will be starting from first one, that is philosophy. Then I'll be coming to mathematics, then science and technology, then applications of science and technology, then health, and definitely then governance and public administration. So first contribution of Indian knowledge system in the field of philosophy, and accordingly we have Indian philosophical system. So for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have just taken 5 points, and through these 5 points you people will be able to understand how Indian knowledge system has contributed in the field of philosophy. So I'd like to request any one of you to please read the slide. My friends, yeah.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
There are 2 classes of philosophical systems in India. One is the Vedic school of philosophy, including Samakya, Yoga, Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimams, and Vedant school of philosophy. Second is non-Vedic school, including Jainism, Buddhism, Charvak philosophy.
Charvak philosophy.
Yeah. The Indian philosophical system provides a true worldview and a vision for life, and help us resolve the issues that we face in our life.
Right.
The teachings of Upanishads suggest that attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life. Unlike the Western counterpart, the Indian philosophical thought is closely intertwined with the religious thought.
Right.
And the ultimate goal of human life is closely spelled out, and the path for attaining the same is also articulated in all the darshanas.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So philosophy, again, I mean, it's a huge area. So if you see, we have 9 orthodox schools of philosophy, which are known as Indian philosophy, Indian school of philosophy. So out of these, 6 believe in Vedas. So they are Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Whereas 3 philosophies, they don't believe in Vedas, and they are Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvak philosophy. Now here, the question arises, how old our Indian philosophical system is. So here I would like to put the opinion of a great Indologist, Max Muller. And Max Muller has said that Upanishad period is of almost 1500 BC. Definitely Vedas period are much older than this. So if we talk about Upanishad period, that is 1500 BC, and if you compare this period with Western philosophies, so in Western world, basically, the philosophy starts with the work of Thales, and Thales period was almost of 500 BC. So in comparison to Western schools of philosophy, our Indian school of philosophy is at least 1000 year old. I mean, much older than that, but at least it is 1000 year old. So if you go through the text, and if you go through the various provisions and characteristics of various schools of thought of Western philosophy. So there is one philosophy, idealism. And if you'll go through idealism, you will find that it very much resembles with Vedanta. But Vedanta is much older than idealism, because idealism was given by Socrates and Plato. So their period is almost 350 or 320 or 300 BC, something like that. But Vedanta is much older. Similarly, if you'll go through another philosophy, that is realism, which was given by the Plato's students, Aristotle. So again, its period is almost, I think, 320 BC or something like that. So it very much resembles with Jainism, but Jainism is much older in comparison to realism. Similarly, another philosophy, Western philosophy, which is very popular, which has been much talked of and discussed, that is humanism. So if you go through humanism, you will find it very much resembles with Buddhism, but humanism was given in 1500 AD, whereas Buddhism philosophy came into existence in 500 BC. So again, much older. Another philosophy, Charvak philosophy, it very much resembles with another Western school of thought, that is naturalism. But naturalism was much later given, and Charvak philosophy is quite old. So through this, what I want to say, that somehow philosophical thought was there, philosophical system was there, and those great teachers and rishis and munis and sages, they somehow developed a kind of philosophy. Another peculiarity of our philosophy, I wanted to sensitize you people that how old our Indian philosophical system is. Another peculiarity, that our philosophical system provided a true worldview and a vision for life. So to put my point, to emphasize more on my point, I would like to tell a very interesting incident. So please listen to me. So a great philosopher, a great speaker, a great knowledgeable person, Vivekananda. So this story revolves around Vivekananda. And I'm quite sure that all of you are aware about his speech that he delivered at Chicago. So my friends, do you know about it? My friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
So that famous speech Swamiji delivered, Vivekananda delivered. And he was a sannyasi. So he used to wear a particular attire. आमतौर पर एक धोती होती है सन्यासियों के पास, तो उससे उसके आधे हिस्से से जिस्म के निचले हिस्से को कवर किया और आधे हिस्से को ऊपर से डाल लिया. और विवेकानंदा पगड़ी भी पहनते थे इन सैफरन कलर, तो उनकी धोती भी सैफरन कलर की होती थी और पगड़ी भी सैफरन कलर. And in that attire, he went to Chicago and delivered that famous speech. So everyone was mesmerized over there, definitely. So the moment his speech was over, so one journalist came to Vivekananda and said, Vivekananda, you are such a knowledgeable person, you are such a great scholar, you are such a good speaker, but what the attire you have put on, why you don't go to a tailor and becomes a gentleman? Because in that country, in that culture, it is thought that a tailor makes you a gentleman. So why you don't go to a tailor and become a gentleman? Listening to it, what Vivekananda said, that shows our Indian culture, our thought and our ethos and our values. So Vivekananda said, in your country a tailor makes you a gentleman, whereas in my country my character makes me a gentleman. My friends,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
listen to it.
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's it. So don't think all those ideas कि साईं इतना दीजिए जामे कुटुम समाए, मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं साधु भी भूखा ना जाए. Yeah, simple living and high thinking, all those things in which we believe, don't think they have come all of a sudden. Somehow they have been derived through that Indian philosophical system. So the second peculiarity of Indian philosophical system is that it provides a true worldview, and not only a true worldview, rather a vision for life, and help us to resolve various issues, various problems that we face in our life. Coming to the third point, the teaching of Upanishads suggests that attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life. Another peculiarity, if you see, Western philosophies, they make them separate from the religion. So religion is separate and philosophy is separate in Western world. But so far as Indian philosophical thought is concerned, somehow various points we have talked about dharma. So don't be confused that dharma with religion. Religion is a very tiny part of dharma. Dharma is quite comprehensive, quite big. So later on, on the later slides, I'll be clarifying this. So what I want to say, unlike the Western counterpart, we didn't separate religion from the philosophy. Rather, our philosophy and our religion, somehow they were closely intertwined. And finally, every darshana, every philosophy somehow clearly spelled out what should be the aim of life and how that aim should be achieved. So in a nutshell, through these points, you can easily understand what's the contribution of Indian knowledge system, particularly in the field of philosophy. My friends, another area in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is there, that is mathematics. So how Indian knowledge system has contributed in the field of mathematics to sensitize you people, I'm coming to the next slide. And I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
Mm.
So
Sir,
the
may I?
first one
Mathematics.
is number system,
Yeah. Yes,
and
sir,
there is a
continue.
concept of
Sir,
zero and decimal system.
Hmm,
And the second one is measurement for time, distance, and weight. So there
right.
is geometry, that's
Hmm,
property of right angular triangle, concept of circle and pi. Then
hmm,
there is arithmetic, that is square root, series, and progressions. Then
right.
there is trigonometry, there's Jaya and Kojia. Then
Yeah.
there is algebra, where there is Aryabhata, root, Ganita, Pada.
Ganit pada.
Then
Ganit pada.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there is binary system, Lagu and Guru, and then
Hmm.
there is astronomy, concepts of stars, planets, celestial bodies, solar and lunar eclipse, Tithi, Nakshatra, and Pen
Panchanga.
like
Panchanga.
Panchanga. The Indian
Panchanga.
calendar system is. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Who are you, sir?
Sir, Dr. Junaid.
Yeah. My friends, I'm sorry. In fact, I couldn't see your name because before me, the screen is open. So that's why repeatedly I'm asking.
It's
Thank you,
okay.
Junaid,
It's
sir.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So, mathematics again, is such an area in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is there. But just for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have identified 8 areas, and through 8 areas, you'll be able to understand how we have contributed so far as mathematics is concerned. So, number system. I don't say ki knowledge of mathematics was there only in India. If you'll see the old civilization, so it is Roman civilization or Greek civilization or Chinese civilization or Mesopotamian civilization or Arabian civilization or, Chinese civilization. So knowledge of mathematics was there in every civilization. But what was unique with us that somehow we gave the concept of zero. And not only we gave the concept of zero, rather we introduced the word decimal system as well. That was one of the biggest contribution of IKS in the field of mathematics. Then if you see measurement for time, distance, and weight, so what was our peculiarity? We had units for measuring small time as well as big time. Similarly, small distance, big distance, small weight, bulky weight. Somehow we have the unit and we have the provision how to measure that. Then, so far as geometry is concerned, particularly there was one mathematician known as Bodhayan. So Bodhayan, I think, spent his whole life in studying particularly the triangles, and out of all the triangles, one triangle he focused, that was right angle triangle. He studied a lot of properties and he gave a lot of theories. Not only that, our mathematician, they gave the concept of circle and pi. So at this juncture of time, I would like to know from you people, what is pi, by the way, my friends?
Pi is equal to 22/7. It's a-
Okay. So how it comes, ma'am?
Hello?
It's
Sir,
a,
Yeah.
I think it's a ratio.
It's a
Uh,
ratio of circumference to area.
Very good. Very good.
circumference to diameter.
Circumference to
Oh,
diameter.
sorry, diameter.
Right.
to diameter.
So,
Yes, yes.
so whether circle is small, circle is big, or circle is very big, any circle, if you will divide its circumference by its diameter, you will get a fixed ratio. That fixed ratio is 22/7 or 3.1414. So that is pi. So our people, in fact, they studied a lot of properties of circles. How, an angle which lie in half circle is 90 degree. So this is one theorem that was given by Indian people. Tangent and so many properties, related to circle. I mean, it was studied, chord and all those things. It was studied by Indian mathematician, and they gave the concept of pi as well. So far as arithmetic is concerned, I mean, again, so much contribution of Indian mathematicians is there, particularly they discovered square root and they studied various series as well as progressions. Then comes trigonometry. So for us, in fact, astronomy was very important. And as a teacher, I'm quite sure you people will be familiar that somehow, in order to study astronomy, somehow you have to have the knowledge of trigonometry. तो trigonometry जितना ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से आप जानेंगे, astronomy के various principles को, उसके concept को बेहतर तरीके से समझ पाएंगे. So since they were very good in astronomy, so they were good in trigonometry as well. And the sine and cos that we use in trigonometry, it was used as ja and koja. So a lot of idioms, a lot of corollaries, a lot of you can say identities, a lot of formulas were given in the field of trigonometry by Indian mathematician. Then algebra, I mean, Aryabhatta wrote a very famous book, Ganit Pada, and out of this book, I mean, this is a bulky book. There are so many chapters in this book, and one chapter is fully dedicated to algebra. So again, I mean, algebra as a subject was invented in Arabia, and al of algebra shows its origin from Arabia. But somehow our people, they contributed a lot in the development of algebra as well. And recently, I mean, I was going through one article. So that article showed that there is one family, Nambudri family in Kerala, and those Nambudri, Nambudri is school of mathematicians. I mean, that was a family, Nambudri family, and there were so many mathematicians in that family, and they contributed a lot, in calculus as well. So somehow, I mean, it shows how our people were aware about algebra and calculus and other things. So certain kind of binary system also we had, as nowadays we have 1 and 0, and whole of computer language is centered around these two. I mean, binary numbers 1 and 0. So certain kind of binary system also prevailed in India. So there was one smaller unit that was Laghu, and there was a bigger unit like Guru. So as 0 and 1, similarly, we have certain kind of binary system that was Laghu and Guru. Then comes astronomy. So our people, they had the knowledge of stars, planets, celestial bodies, solar and lunar eclipse, Tithi, Nakshatra, and Panchanga. So at this juncture of time, I would like to know from you people, what is Panchanga? Have you heard about it, my friends?
Yes, sir. पंचांग
Yes, sir.
पंचांग नक्षत्रों की गणना करके तिथि और सूर्य ग्रहण, चंद्र ग्रहण या किसी के जन्म के समय के आधार पर कई गणनाएं वो प्रेजेंट करते हैं पंचांग में.
स्मिता स्मिता
So
मैम
may
बोल
I?
रही है.
जी सर, जी सर.
Okay, Smita ma'am. So, okay, yeah. Someone
So may
else was supplement.
So
Yeah.
Panchang is basically a Hindu lunar calendar which studies the moon as well as the stars, and specifically it defines the dates, the time period, and for a full year on a daily basis, on a minute by minute basis. So basically, it's a Indian mechanism and a Hindu mechanism to develop the calendar.
Right. So I'm quite sure you people will agree with me that somehow this Panchanga is different from the traditional calendar or the calendar which we use, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is different. Yes.
So if you see the traditional calendar that we use, it mentions about day and date and holidays and something else. But Panchanga was very comprehensive. It has been, as has been mentioned by Smita ma'am as well as Neki ma'am. So somehow, I mean, in order to prepare a Panchanga, you have to have the knowledge of astronomy. And in astronomy, our Indian mathematician, they contributed a lot. So in a nutshell, these were the 8 areas through which you can understand the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the field of mathematics. Now, another area again in which our people contributed a lot, and that is science. So science and technology, of course. So I have taken 8 points again, and through these 8 points, I'm quite sure you people will be sensitized how our people have contributed in the field of science and technology. So I would like to mention any one of you to please read the slide.
Okay, science and technology.
Yeah.
Mining and ore extraction, particularly gold extraction. Production of zinc through
Hmm.
technique of downward drift reduction, distillation process was used, which is now used as a modern process all over the world. Metal and metalworking, particularly mastery over iron, steel, zinc, copper, and their alloys.
Right.
Smelting of iron, the Delhi iron pillar.
Right.
Manufacturing of steel, the wood steel.
Right.
Mercury, mentioned in the
Correct.
Charaka Samhita,
Yes.
was used in the amalgamation process for the extraction of silver and gold.
Right.
Lead and silver, Kautilya's Arthashastra mentions silver coins of definite weight.
Right.
Lost wax casting of idols and interfacts.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So these are the areas through which you can understand the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the development of science and technology. So first one, our people have technology, or people have techniques for mining and ore extraction, and particularly gold extraction. So if you see, gold was very important in our culture. And the moment I'm saying gold was important, so I don't say it was important only for the women, rather for the men as well. And if you see the old people, I mean, king and other noble people and minister of the kings, I mean, somehow all they used to wear gold in so many ways, you know. So gold was very important in our culture. And somehow these people, I mean, our ancestors, you know, so they have the technology how to, you know, do mining, not only mining, rather extract as well. Definitely that technology would have been different from today's technology, but certain kind of technology was there. Then another contribution in the field of science technology was the production of zinc. And why I have particularly mentioned this point, because nowadays all over the world, so far as production of zinc is concerned, they use one technique, one process that is known as downward drift reduction distillation process. So I'm talking about 2025, when knowledge is much advanced, technology is much advanced, science is much advanced, you know, we are using this downward drift reduction distillation process. So same process was used definitely by our ancestors to so far as production of zinc is concerned. Of course, that those machines, or you can say the techniques, would have been different, but somehow the process was same, that is downward drift reduction distillation process. So another peculiarity, that was metals and metalworking. Our people have mastery over iron, steel, zinc, copper, and their alloys. So what are the alloys, by the way, my friends? My friends, my question is, what are alloys?
So not a pure form of metal, but it's a basically a mixture of metal which is placed
right.
on equivalent level in a periodic table, and it's a mix basically so that it can have a shelf life. We can use it for a longer time.
Very good, very good, very good. So nowadays, you know, all the car making company, they claim that they have alloy wheel. So have you heard it, my friends?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, सुना है कि कार वाले क्लेम करते हैं कि हमारे पास alloy wheel है. Have you heard about it? Yeah, right. So what's the peculiarity of this alloy wheel? क्यों बार बार वो बात करते हैं इसकी? बताइए.
सर अगर वही कैन आई से इन हिंदी?
हाँ, हिंदी इंग्लिश किसी ने भी कहिए जी.
अगर टायर्स, मतलब आई एम नॉट मतलब इनटू इट, बट आई थिंक कि एलॉय व्हील्स का मतलब ये होता है कि अगर हम लोग टायर्स का जो अंदर का कास्ट है जिसपे टायर्स को हम चढ़ाते हैं, अगर वो नॉर्मल एक मेटल में होता तो मेटल ब्रेक कर सकता था, बट देन अगर आपने मिक्सचर ऑफ मेटल्स को आपने
मजबूत हो जाता है.
हाँ, वो और मजबूत हो जाएगा, उसका लॉन्ग लाइफ हो जाएगा इस वजह से, और जितने जर्क्स करते हैं जी सर.
Right. So if you will mix iron in some ratio with zinc, or you will mix iron with copper, or you will mix steel with copper, I mean something like that, so that alloy which is formed is lighter in weight. This is one peculiarity, and another one, as ma'am has said, it becomes strong as well. So alloys have their own beauty in terms of lighter weight as well as in terms of their strength. So somehow, I mean, our ancestors, our people, they knew about how to make the alloys as well. Then smelting of iron, they use some technology, and the recent, I mean, the most appropriate example may be the Delhi iron pillar, more than 2,500 years, but it's still, I mean, it is free from rusting, it is there. So that shows how much mastery they have, or I mean, such type of technology. Then our Indian mathematicians and scientists, I mean, they knew how to manufacture steel, and there was one particular steel which they used, which they manufacture, that was Wood's steel. So at this juncture of time, I would like to know from you people, what is Wood's steel? Have you heard about it, my friends? My
So
friend.
it's basically made up of carbon.
Yeah. Very good, ma'am. So in every steel, I mean, the process of making a steel, some carbon component is there. But in Wood's steel, relatively in comparison to other type of steel, carbon compound is more. That's why it is very strong, and particularly it is used in making the weapons. So if you see the ancient times weapon, almost all of the weapons somehow, I mean, sword, or you can say other, weapons. So they were important. Their importance lied in being strong. So, I mean, this particular steel, they knew how to make it. And later on in the medieval period, this knowledge went to Damascus. Damascus, that is the capital of Syria. And one blade was very famous in the whole world, that is known as Damascus blade. And basically, the technology of manufacturing that Damascus blade was based on using Wood's steel. So somehow the knowledge from India went over there, and that Wood's steel technology basically popularized that, Damascus blade, and whole world, I mean, Damascus blades were imported. I mean, somehow Damascus blade was very important so far as making in the weapons are concerned, which was based on Wood's steel. Then comes mercury. So before I proceed, and whatever I have mentioned on the slide, before I'm going to explain, I would like to know from you people, what's the peculiarity of mercury? By the way, my friends, why mercury is peculiar? So can you say something about it?
It has a property of amalgamation, sir.
It is a
Amalgamation.
liquid metal, sir.
Yeah, this is the most unique property. Mercury is the only liquid, only metal which is found in liquid state. This is one peculiarity. There's one more peculiarity of mercury. So I wanted to know from you people.
So it is toxic. It cannot be left in open air.
That might be, but there is one thing more. ये लोग साइंस वाले कहाँ हैं? ये मोहित साहब, जुनेद साहब, where are you people?
Sir, it can be used as an electrical conductor also.
Sir, may I say? Hello?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, mercury has very proportionate thermal expansion relationship. So it can be used for measuring temperature very well and pressure also.
हाँ, एक चीज मिस कर रहे हैं आप लोग.
So basically, it's poor
it has very
conductor of
high
heat and
surface tension.
good conductor of
Very high
electricity.
surface. Very high surface tension property it has.
Sir, mercury
Ah.
जो
Why
है,
it
sir,
always just convert into a ball like structure as and
Yeah,
when it left
देखिए,
on floor.
देखिए, जुनेद साहब, जिशान साहब, all of you are from engineering background. मरकरी की डेंसिटी कितनी होती है? 13.6. सुने हैं आप लोग?
Times the density of the water. 13.6 times the density
वाटर
of the
की
water.
डेंसिटी, देखिए, वाटर की डेंसिटी 1 होती है और मरकरी की 13.6 होती है. सो सिंपली to explain, mercury is 13.6 times heavier than the water, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तो ज्यादा volatile होगी इस वजह से.
बहुत भारी होता है मरकरी. तो अगर आप 1 लीटर मरकरी उठाएंगे तो आपको उठाने में बहुत दिक्कत आएगी. बहुत भारी होता है. ऑलमोस्ट 13.6 टाइम्स हेवियर देन द वेट ऑफ 1 लीटर ऑफ वाटर.
Sir, specific gravity is 13.6.
I mean,
वही है सर,
simply,
वही है.
हाँ, वो मैं उसको थोड़ा सा ऐसे अल्फाज में
नहीं, सही, ठीक
समझा
है
रहा हूँ
सर,
कि सारे
ठीक
लोग
है,
समझ जाए. Yes, of course. So these are the two peculiarities. यानी एक तो ये भारी बहुत होता है, और दूसरा this is the only liquid, only metal which is found in liquid state. And Charka, a great scientist, I mean, he has written a lot of things, and all of his writings have been compiled under the title Charak Samhita. And in Charak Samhita, he has mentioned about mercury. तो mercury को संस्कृत में पारा कहते हैं, and he has described all the important characteristics of mercury. तो para yani para ke bare mein. And he has mentioned in his book that mercury might be used in the amalgamation process for the extraction of silver and gold because of all those characteristics and properties which you people have just mentioned. So somehow what I wanted to prove through this point, that our scientists, our mathematicians, our teachers, they somehow were familiar with the mercury as well. Then lead and silver, if you'll go through the book of Arthashastra that was written by Kautilya, so he has mentioned silver coins of various weights. I mean, somehow, so in order to make those coins, somehow mixture of lead and silver was used, and of course, lost wax costing of idols and interfacts. So these are the 8 points through which you can easily understand the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the field of science and technology. Then there is another area again in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is there, and that is the application of science and technology. So which is being presented in the next slide. So for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have just taken 7 points, and I'm quite sure through these 7 points you can understand how Indian knowledge system has contributed so far as application of science and technology is concerned. So I'd like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
The first
Application
one
of
is architecture, that is Vastu Shastra and town planning, unitary
Mm,
buildings, residential buildings and royal palaces. And
mm,
there is irrigation and water management. Then the
mm,
third one is dyes and painting technology. Fourth one
mm,
is the art of making perfumes. Then there is
mm,
surgical techniques. Then there is
mm,
shipbuilding. And the last
mm.
one is 64 art forms, that colors.
Right, right. So, so before I proceed, I'm quite sure you people are familiar with Vastu. So what is this Vastu, by the way, my friends?
That's sir, that's quite written over there. That's architecture.
So
Or
Vastu Shastra is basically a knowledge with respect to the 4 directions and vis-a-vis the 4 directions, north, east, south, west. Also other 4 directions, which is a combination of these 4, such as north, east, south, west, etc. And Vastu Shastra is basically referring to the energies which pass through these directions, and that has been basically included in the Shastra form.
okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you. Now one question I further I would like to ask. I don't know. I'm quite sure you people will be aware. Definitely, you are teachers. So, uh, what they are saying nowadays that most of the people who live in metropolitan cities, they suffer from vitamin D deficiency. So, have you heard about it?
Yes, it's true, sir.
Hmm. And what might be the reason behind it, ma'am?
Shastra is not being followed because the houses are closed. They are just like canopies, and sunlight is not coming enough,
Yes.
which is
So,
required.
so yes, thank you, ma'am. So, so far as a natural source of vitamin D is concerned, sunlight is the most important source. I mean, there are other sources of vitamin D as well, but sunlight is most important. Now, in the metropolitan cities, they are making 32 floor building, 30 floor building. I mean, one building adjacent to this, another building. Then, I mean, there is one building in front of that, there is one building behind that, there is one building towards right side, there is one building towards left. I mean, hardly these people they used to get the exposure to the sunlight, and this is one of the reasons why these people are facing vitamin D deficiency. And this Vastu basically is to tell you, I mean, where should be the location of the drawing room, where should be the kitchen, where should be the bedroom, and how we can ensure that our home is properly ventilated and it is airy. It might be cooler in the summer, simultaneously it might be hotter in the summer. I mean, something like that. So that is known as Vastu Shastra. I mean, this is quite comprehensive. Vastu is quite comprehensive, but in a nutshell, I have presented before you people. And somehow, if you see the ancient cities, particularly Indian cities, if you see, so the moment they planned a town, basically 3 types of buildings they used to make. Unitary buildings that used to serve only one purpose. uh, I mean, some offices or something like that, residential buildings in which people used to live, and royal palaces. So whether it is unitary building, whether it is residential building, whether it is royal palaces, somehow they used to utilize the knowledge of Vastu Shastra so that that particular building might have enough air, might have enough light, might be properly ventilated. Then they have irrigation and water management system, and certain kind of rainwater harvesting system was there. Definitely, I mean, I'm not talking of technology that is used today in rainwater harvesting, but some system of, you know, preservation of water was there. So one pond particularly reserved, you know, for taking bath, one particular pond reserved particularly for the animals, one particular pond reserved for some other purpose, something like that. And they ensured that whenever it is raining, they used to collect the rainwater, because, you know, water was very important for them. Water is important for us also, but today we have very sophisticated machines and very sophisticated technology that can extract the water out even from 2000 feet, you know, 2000 feet deep. If water is there, so we can extract that out, but those people didn't have that technology. So somehow water for them was very important, and they had the water management and definitely irrigation system as well. Dyeing and painting technology definitely was there. I mean, our scientists, they knew how to make the perfumes. Then surgical techniques, and here this is the point that I would like to elaborate in a little bit detail. There was a great surgeon in India, Sushruta. So have you heard the name?
यस सर, सुश्रुत संहिता बनाई हुई है, उन्होंने उसका निर्माण किया था, लिखा था, और
जी,
उसमें बहुत सारे सर्जिकल जो इक्विपमेंट्स हैं जो आज भी हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं, वो उसमें कुछ चित्र वगैरह दिए हुए हैं, औजार पूरे जी
So
बने हुए
what Sushruta did, in fact, the most important contribution of Sushruta is two contributions. In fact, in my opinion, there are two important contributions of Sushruta. Number one, he carefully watched and observed the beaks of the birds. किसी का माइक खुला हुआ है, बंद कर लीजिए प्लीज. किसी का माइक खुला हुआ है, बंद कर लीजिए. Yeah. So he very carefully observed the beaks of the birds. For example, if you also see the eagle's beak, so it is different from crow's beak. Crow's beak is different from sparrow's beak. I mean, like that. So minutely observed these birds, and as were the shapes of their beaks, accordingly he designed some surgical instruments. किसी का माइक खुला हुआ है, right? So accordingly he designed, those surgical instruments. I mean, purely on the basis of the beaks of the birds, and those surgical tools were used in performing the surgery. This was the one contribution. Another contribution, Sushruta used to give anesthesia as well, but definitely it was different from today's anesthesia. It was not chemical based anesthesia, rather he used some medicinal herbs, some plants or something like that, and he used to give anesthesia and perform the surgery. So somehow, I mean, surgical technique were also there. Then shipbuilding, I mean, not new. And then 64 art form kalas. So there was a great scholar, Van Bhatta, and Van Bhatta discussed about 64 kalas, 64 art forms. And if you'll go through the National Education Policy 2020 documents, you will find that these 64 art forms have been mentioned in the policy document as well. So in a nutshell, through these 7 areas, you can understand what are the contributions of Indian knowledge system, particularly in the field of applications of science and technology. Then coming to another area, again, which is very important in my opinion, and that is health. So what was the contribution of Indian knowledge system in the health, in the field of health? So 7 points again have been mentioned by me, and I'm quite sure you can go through this slide. So please go through this slide. My friends, any one of you, please read the slide.
Ayurveda, a way of complete health. Yoga, for holistic health and wellness, such as emotional and spiritual intelligence. Disease management, for diagnostic techniques and surgery. Drugs and physical therapy. Sleep and food, for impact on health. The body, mind, intellect, consciousness complex. The Panch Kosh, a 5-layered existence of the Anmaya Kosh, Prananmaya Kosh, Monmaya,
Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanmaya Kosha, and Anandmaya Kosha.
And Vijanmaya Kosha and Anandmaya Kosha. Thank you.
Right. So before I proceed, let me tell you one thing. For us, health was not only the physical health. Health was not simply the absence of illness or absence of diseases. Rather, for us, health was holistic, complete health, which ensures physical, mental, moral, emotional, and psychological health. And in order to ensure this complete health, we have two things. One was Ayurveda and another one was yoga. So Ayurveda, a way of complete health. I mean, not only, I mean, it talks about how to remove some diseases and how to cure some illness. Rather, it tells you how to prevent that illness as well. I mean, what should be the preventive measures so that you may avoid, I mean, such type of disease and an illness. And yoga definitely, it ensures physical health, and not only physical health, rather emotional and spiritual intelligence as well. So nowadays, what people understand by yoga, that it is simply pranayama. हाथ पैर हिला लिया, सांस ऊपर खींच लिया, ताली बजा दिया, यही योगा. No, that is not yoga. I mean, it's just a tiny part of yoga. Pranayama is a tiny part of yoga. Rather, yoga tells you your aim of life, from where you have come, what you are contributing to the society, what you are contributing to your family, what you are contributing to your country. So somehow yoga ensures physical health as well as emotional and spiritual intelligence as well. And before I think 1 year back almost, so I got one thesis from one university in which the researcher studied on the impact of yoga, particularly on emotional and spiritual intelligence. And he claimed that by giving some particular yoga, I mean exercises and yoga, emotional and spiritual intelligence of secondary school students was improved. So it shows the importance of yoga. So Ayurveda and yoga, I mean, these were the two important contributions to the world so far as Indian knowledge system is concerned. Then certain kind of diagnostic techniques and surgery, I mean, already I have explained. So that was prevailing. Drugs and physical therapy, definitely that was there. Then another thing, sleep and food. So before I proceed, I would like to take your opinion, my friends, that how much do you eat? How do you eat? When do you eat? How do you sleep? How much do you sleep? And when do you sleep? So do you think it has any impact on your health? My friends, please
Yes,
respond.
yes, it does have.
Definitely, sir.
बहुत ज्यादा.
So if you'll go through Ayurveda, so somehow it mentions take the dinner at least 1 hour before going to the bed, or more than that, but at least 1 hour. If you are not feeling hungry, don't eat. I mean if your mood is off somehow, so let the mood be okay, then take food. I mean, something like that. So somehow all these have impact on our health. So the moment I say that Ayurveda talks about preventoriums, how to prevent diseases and illness, then Ayurveda, I mean, somehow through these points mentions that how we can save our health. No, then body, mind, intellect, consciousness complex, that has been beautifully explained by Ayurveda. And then we have explained a panch kosha, a 5-layered experience. So Annamaya related to our physical need, Pranmaya somehow related to our strength, Manomaya kosha, I mean related to our mind, Vigyanmaya kosha related to knowledge, and Anandmaya kosha, that is bliss. So this is a 5-layered existence, and all the 5 layers are important so far as ensuring holistic health is concerned. Now, I'm coming to the last area in which I want to sensitize you people the contribution of Indian knowledge system, and that is governance and public administration. So for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have selected 5 points, and I'm quite sure through these 5 points, you people will be understand how Indian knowledge system has contributed in the field of governance and public administration. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
May I, sir? Okay.
Sure.
The do's and don'ts for a king. Arthashastra. Science of logic and argumentation, the Anviksiki. The Vedas, Trai. Economics, Varta. And governance, Dandiniti.
Dandaniti.
Dandaniti. Kautilya's state. Book 6 of Arthashastra mentions 7 elements that make up the state: the king, Swami, the minister, Amatya, the territory, Janpad, the fortified capital, Durga, the treasury, the Kosh, the army, the Danda, and the Alai, Mitra. The administrative setup: king and his cabinet, palace administration, defense, treasury, revenue, law and order, civil administration, and lastly, the importance of dharma in governance.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So, I mean, very clearly, what a king should do and what a king should not do, it has been mentioned. And here again, dharma has been defined. So, don't be confused dharma with religion. Dharma is much more comprehensive in religion. So I am a teacher. What is my shikshak dharma? I am a husband. So what is my pati dharma? I am a wife. So what is my patni dharma? I am a king. So what is my raj dharma? I mean, my dharma is based on my karma. What the duties I am required to perform. So accordingly, do's and don'ts for a king were mentioned. And particularly, Arthashastra, I mean, such a comprehensive book. So many principles have been mentioned in it. So one part of this book, Anviksiki, in which logic and argumentation has been mentioned. Then another part, Vedasrai. One part is Varta, that is economics, and another part is Dandaniti, that is governance. And Kautilya, in fact, has mentioned that there are 7 elements that make up a state. And out of those 7 elements, the most important element is the king himself, Swami, then his ministers, Amatya, the territory on which the king is ruling, that is Janpada, the capital in which all the establishment is there, that is Durga, the treasury, that is Kosha, army, that is Danda, and allies. So allies have their own importances. So last year, if you remember, our country, India, hosted the meeting of G20. So G20 is a platform, G7 is a platform, G77 is a platform, then BRICS is a platform, SARC is a platform. I mean, why all these platforms are required? So that we may exchange knowledge, we may exchange technology, we may improve our economy, so that trade and commerce may be encouraged. I mean, somehow allies have their own importance. So somehow, this was the 7th element for a state that was mentioned by Kautilya. Then if you see the administrative setup that was there, so there were various layers of administration. So one layer was king and his cabinet, another layer was palace administration, then defense, where army was there, treasury, revenue, law and order, local police were there, and then finally civil administration, and finally the importance of dharma in governance. So till now, my friends, I have explained you people what is Indian knowledge system and how in 6 areas, that is in philosophy, in mathematics, in science and technology, in applications of science and technology, in health, and in governance and public administration, how Indian knowledge system has contributed. Now, the purpose of these was just to tell you people what is the relevance of Indian knowledge system today, what is the importance of Indian knowledge system today, and what is the role of Indian knowledge system. So in the coming 3 slides, I'm going to discuss all these one by one. So first of all, I would like to discuss the relevance of IKS. So any one of you, please read the slide. Friends, please read the slide. Yeah.
Knowing the preserving the
And preserving
ancestral knowledge,
right,
transmitting it to other generation, creating a
right,
knowledge society,
right,
ensuring a holistic and multidisciplinary education, promoting
right,
inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse knowledge systems.
right. So the first relevance, if you see, our ancestors have some knowledge, and it is our duty to preserve that. And we can't preserve unless and until we know. So first we know, then we will preserve, and since we all are teachers, so we will transmit it to other generations. So these 2 relevances are there. Then IKS is relevant in creating a knowledge society. It is relevant in ensuring a holistic and multidisciplinary education system. And it is relevant in promoting inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse knowledge systems. So far as role of IKS is concerned, if you see four roles particularly I have mentioned, definitely it will provide a sense of identity to us. So we in India, we have lot of diversity in terms of religion, in terms of caste, in terms of language, in terms of other things, but there is one commonality, there is one common thing, that we all are Indians. So I'm sure more and more we will go know about Indian knowledge system and its contribution to the world. More and more sense of identity, and more and more feeling of pride we will feel. So this will be the first role of IKS. So far as shaping the culture of the society, it might be the second role. And in utilizing the received wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. My friends, all of you are teachers, and please remember that no new knowledge is creation is possible in vacuum. You can't create anything new in vacuum. Somehow, in order to create something new, you have to use the old principles. You have to use the old theories. You have to use the existing knowledge. So our ancestors have some wisdom that we have got it, and that we will utilize in marching ahead on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. And finally, definitely we can transform knowledge into economy. Somehow knowledge and economy both are interrelated with each other. So if we have knowledge, it might be converted into economy. And definitely Indian knowledge system has the potential to be converted into economic value. So these four, I think there might be a few more roles as well, but in my opinion, these four roles are most important so far as Indian knowledge system is concerned. Now I'm coming to the last slide of my presentation, and that is related to the advantages of IKS. So I have identified 5 advantages, and I would like to request any one of you to please read all these 5 advantages.
The advantages of Indian knowledge system. Number one, in providing enriched learning experiences to the students. Number two, in promoting cultural understanding. Number three, in bridging the gap between traditional wisdom and modern knowledge. Number four, in inculcating the problem-solving ability among the students. And lastly, in bringing knowledge exchanges with other civilizations.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So these might be the advantages. I mean, already I have explained about the role and relevance. So very briefly, let me explain the advantages. So definitely nowadays we are facing a lot of problems like value crisis, like growing criminalization in the society, like climate change, like pollution. I mean, so many problems we are facing. So our ancestors also faced so many problems. So what the solution they got for it? And is it relevant for today in this world? Is it relevant? So somehow, if teaching the solution to the existing problems to our students which we are facing, if we will connect it to the past and we will present it as a case study, definitely it will provide some enriched learning experiences to our students. Then in promoting cultural understanding, nowadays we are quite modern, we are quite advanced. So 2000 years back, 3000 years back, how these people, we are living, and how their marriage ceremonies took place, how their various functions took place, how they migrated from one place to another. I mean, how they eat and how they wear, I mean, something like that. So is there any relevance? If there is any relevance, definitely. So by that way, we can promote the cultural understanding. Then there is a big gap between traditional wisdom and modern knowledge. So somehow, sometimes people who are very much influenced by modern knowledge, they say that, I mean, traditional wisdom is quite rubbish or quite rotten. It's not like that. I mean, somehow traditional knowledge and traditional wisdom has its own importance. So more and more we will be able to know about Indian knowledge system and its contribution. More and more gap between traditional wisdom and modern knowledge will be able to bridge. Then finally, in inculcating problem solving ability among the students, already I have explained under first point. And finally, there are various civilizations of the world. I mean we are one of the oldest civilization, definitely, but we are not the only civilization. I mean, there are so many. I mean, Greek, Roman, Mesopotamian, Chinese, Egyptian. So so many things we have in our system, and we accordingly we have Indian knowledge system. Similarly, other knowledge is there in other civilizations as well. So more and more we will know about ourselves, we will try to know about others also, and by that way there will be a exchange, particularly knowledge exchange with the other civilizations. So in my opinion, these were the advantages of Indian knowledge system. So thank you very much, my friends, for listening to me. I think since last 75 minutes continuously I am speaking. So I'm putting an end to my lecture, and now I am handing over the session to you people. I'm opening the house for the question and answer. If you want to ask some question, or if you want to share anything with me, definitely you can.
Dear participant, please put your query fast to the professor.
Thank you so much, sir, for your so enlightening lecture and just revising all the things related to IKS. Myself, Dr. S.H. Jaffrey from Department of Mechanical Engineering. Sir, there is a thought come in my mind when I was listening this lecture, especially in the last slides, that there is a quite concerned about the health in the present society. And one of the practice that is being suggested to take food before the sunset, and that may be the practice of the older time of our country people too. But as the science and technology has developed the means like the electricity and all the things, so because of that we do the work late night. So, and even because of that we didn't get the sufficient time to complete or to just ensure the sufficient sleep. So how we can manage all these things keeping in mind the IKS?
Right,
This is my
right,
question.
right, Jeffrey sir, thank you very much for asking such a good question. In fact, IKS suggests a lot of things related to holistic health. So adopt that which might be suitable to you. I mean, it is just one thing that IKS has suggested to you. I mean, Ayurveda, or the holistic health concept of holistic health has suggested to you. But there are other suggestions as well. So if it is not possible for you to follow, take the other suggestion. Somehow those suggestions definitely will ensure your good health, and definitely they will benefit you. Right, Jaffrey sir?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can I ask one question?
या मोहित साहब जी बोलिए आप बहुत एक्टिव
Sir,
पार्टिसिपेंट थे या
it is a very wonderful and nice session. We gained lot of knowledge. Just one more question regarding the holistic health approach. Whatever yoga and Ayurveda has suggested, it's very good. I know that pranam and various mudras do offer good health. Just one query: can it be coupled with some modern science workouts and other things to attain a more holistic approach?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Well, there are so many exercises like cat and camel and other exercises. So if you'll go through in detail, you will find somehow it might be mixed with yoga. बिल्कुल. तो योगा की कुछ एक्सरसाइजेज हैं जो कि बहुत यूनिक हैं, तो उनके बारे में तो मैं बहुत यानी कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ नहीं कह सकता हूँ, बट सो मेनी ऑफ इट माइट बी मिक्स्ड विथ modern science and technology, or suiting our purpose. I mean, it might be customized, it might be molded. Dr. Mohit?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
जी, बिल्कुल, definitely.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Mohit. और किसी को कुछ पूछना है? Anyone else? Negi ma'am, you are very active. Negi ma'am?
Thank you, sir. No questions. Thank you very much, sir. No questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think, sir, participants have asked their questions. So thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us.
जी, Zishan साहब, in fact, I was summoned at 5:50.
Yes,
मुझसे ये कहा गया कि
just because of that only, Sajid sir, I am really thankful to you once again.